Where to buy it.
That's awesome. That is
And they
great.
just kept going above the next one.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a great job. Who else? Come on, somebody good. Matt, tell me something good. Right now, you're on the spot.
Let's see, we got, our team got several closing or contracts yesterday, which is always exciting, especially with tough market, yeah.
I just had a great experience with Shelter. They were amazing. You guys took such great care of my clients, so thank you for that.
Absolutely, thank you.
Anybody else? I need one more. Come on, you guys. Don't go to sleep on me. Mike's gotta see that I can do this. Come on. Right there.
I'll tell you something bad, tell you something good. I lost a $500,000 deal because of just the words I used. A friend of mine, I used to always tell him I'm never coming to his house because he lived too far. So it was like, I know you're a realtor, I didn't use you because you say my house is too far. But we were all together with another friend who was in this conversation. He's like, well, I'm about to sell my house. So I'm going to go to that listing appointment tomorrow.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah.
Get another hand up back there. Tell me something good. Bob.
About to close the most difficult sale in the world. This month.
To your point, when you're talking to people and you're in real estate, when you send out mailers or these handwritten notes and all the stuff that I always preach, they're not gonna pick up the phone and list their house with you when they get your notes. This is a time thing. They have to hear you. So it's called top of the mind awareness, and it's a marketing term. You have to keep pushing it out there so that they'll remember you when they decide to list. It's almost the opposite of what you're thinking. Like, I'm gonna send it out there and get a bunch of listings. No, you're sending it out there for them to remember you when they do. So keep that in mind. Keep that marketing train going. And I'm gonna actually take this minute to pass out those things. I'm gonna tell y'all a couple of tidbits, and this will just take a second. If you've taken my class, you already have this handout, but this is a little very primitive worksheet that will bring you business, okay? And if you do this worksheet, if you do it in a week, you'll have business probably in 2 to 3 weeks, guaranteed. If you do it every day for a week, you'll probably have business in 1 to 2 weeks. So they're gonna pass that out, and just let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so the next, we have a breakfast sponsor today, Stephanie Durden with DK Reynolds. There she is. Come on up. Thank you for breakfast. Let's give her a round of applause.
My pleasure. Today is Jason's Deli. Everybody was kind of getting tired of the same donuts and bagels. That was pretty, so I decided to shake it up a little bit. So I am Stephanie from BK Rentals. A lot of you I have already met and know. Joe and I have had coffee. Had a great conversation this morning with Dallas. So I'm always excited to get to know you guys. You are one of our newer offices, but you're not our newest anymore. You were there for a little while, but we've now added Cityside, we've added Cartersville. You can go one more. Here it is. And let's see, Metro Atlanta came in, West Cobb came in. And there's one more, and I didn't sign it. There's a new me in my office, an additional one. So there's two business development managers now, but she signed one, and I just can't remember who it is off the top of my head, and I accidentally sent the wrong slide to me this morning. So, but anyway, you can see we have a long history with Keller Williams. We love you guys. We love the relationship that we have. I think it's built on trust. It's knowing that if a mistake is made, we'll do our side to correct it. You guys always do your side to make sure communication is good with us and your clients. But I think it's also that you know that we won't ever steal your client. I've got a client now who is selling a house, and I was telling Dallas about it this morning, and his first thought was, well, wait a second, because we've listed it, but it didn't come to us through, it was a friend of the owner of the company. They've been with us for 10 years, finally decided to sell. That's a pool. So if anybody's interested, it's worth the property. But anyway, if a referral comes to us from one of you, and later on that homeowner decides to sell, we're going to turn around and call you. We're going to let you know. We won't take the listing. So it's not worth losing this office for one property being sold. So we'll do it. Plus, like I said, I've only had my license for less than a year, and I wouldn't know how to buy or sell a house if my life depended on it. I manage properties. That's what I do. Next slide, please. We are a flat rate company, $80 a month. We do not charge a percentage of the rent. Some people say, then what's your incentive to increase rent? Our incentive is to keep the client, not to gouge them. So they pay for services they use. For $80 a month, we will collect the rent. We will be the single point of contact for that tenant for repairs or any issues that they've got with their balance. We're the single point of contact for the homeowner. If we have to go to an eviction, we handle everything. So you don't have to, the homeowners don't have to file, they don't have to go to court, they don't have to talk to the lawyer, we do it all. But anything above that is charged for, or an a la carte service, makes us different.
XP, I don't know how to do this.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No.
you should just be able to click.
Oh.
Everybody, every single homeowner gets paid on the 16th of every month, or gets their statement, sorry, they get their payments on the 15th of every month. Rent's due on the 1st for all tenants, it's late on the 2nd for all tenants, and we can streamline this using technology. So, it allows us, our costs low because our processes are consistent and highly technologicized. Okay, and the last slide, I think. Yep, there it is, $80 a month, flat management fee. We charge the homeowner 75% of the first month's rent to find a tenant. Our screening is better than anybody's you're gonna find in Atlantis, and as much as I hate to say, including the ones that you guys use. We even go as far as facial recognition technology. We busted somebody with a stolen driver's license. We will never take a listing from anybody you refer. We always communicate the status. Most important, the referral fee to you. If you give us a home with no tenant and we enter into a full contract where we find a tenant and manage the property, we'll give you half the month's rent. But you have to send me an email with the introduction. Please don't send it only through text. Please don't call me and leave me a voicemail, because if it gets missed, then I pass the discount, since I don't have to pay a referral fee. I pass that discount onto the homeowner, and I can't get it back. So you want to be sure that you get your name to me. My email is here. I want to apologize, I'm running low on business cards, so if anybody doesn't need one, I've got the ones I have right up here. But feel free to give me a call at any time. And I would love to spend some time with each of you, buy you a cup of coffee, and give more details about what I can do. So your next small group meetings or just a coffee break that you need, I'm not far from here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Red Day. Oh, she's not here, right? Okay, we'll come back to that. Oh, wait, she's here, This is Jim, just walk in.
No, I was standing right there. No.
Oh, I didn't even see you back there. Sorry, this is Kimberly English with Frontline Response, and it's one of our Red Day projects, and I'll let you go ahead and explain it.
Go ahead. Yes, sorry.
I'm a morning person, so I like to see smiles, early smiles, okay? Good morning, everyone. Good. Well, it is a wonderful day. My name is Kimberly English, as I'm with Frontline Response. Frontline Response is a faith-based organization whose mission is to rescue men and women out of sex trafficking and homelessness. And we do prevention programs for vulnerable individuals and families in communities in and around the metro Atlanta area and DeKalb County. Well, today, I wanted to share with you guys just a couple stories as to our why. We've gone on one of our homelessness outreaches that I've gone on before. There was a gentleman, he was 18 years old. And we go to different places in the metro Atlanta area. And he had received what we call compassion bags, which are bags of snacks and food and toiletry items. Well, he had received a couple of bags, and he noticed that we come by, didn't really interact with us too much. But this one particular night, we were having a conversation. I moved here from Alabama. Roll Tide, don't hate you, love Roll Tide. Roll Tide. There's grace in being a member of Roll Tide, so there's grace this year. But we were just talking and having a conversation, and in that conversation, I asked him, I said, if you don't mind me asking, where you laying your head tonight? Well, he told me, well, down the street. I said, what do you mean by down the street? He said, well, I have a pallet that's on the corner down the street. I'm living on the streets. So I asked him another question. I said, hey, well, do you mind just kind of sharing with me, how long have you been out here? He'd been out there for over a year and a half. And a young man, and we got to talking. And I said, well, hey, I'm with this organization who can provide resources and help for you. I know you guys are selling homes to individuals who can afford homes and are excited about having housing. But this individual, he had come to Atlanta looking for a better start and got connected with some people who did not mean him well. He had actually, the persons that he had got to know, ending up leaving him, kicking him out, and he had no place to go. He was ashamed to call his family, because of the lifestyle that he had chosen to live, and he was just ashamed. So all of that was through a conversation that we had. So that night, I said, well, we have a hotline number that you can call. This is a card that we put in every one of the bags that we have. I had shown him this card. And this card right here it has our hotline number on it for men and women. So I said, hey, would you like to call? Because we always want to make sure that people choose. We're not forcing God on anyone. We're not forcing anyone to make a decision. But what I could do, I could provide him love, support, great conversation, and to see him. If you won't mind for just a moment, can you walk back and really just keep walking back and forth? Okay. Okay. What are you gonna do? Walking back me. So the world's conditioned to do exactly what she does. I'm the young man. I'm the young man and she doesn't see me. She's walking past me every single day. Whether I may look a little different, smell a little different, wear clothes that may be a little tattered. But see, when we go out, we are a tangible expression that says, I see you. We are a tangible expression that says you're worth having a conversation with. We're a tangible expression that says, you know what, your story is worth hearing. And regardless if you want to take the bags of food that we have, or if you want to have a conversation with us, I'm just showing up to say that I see you. So on that particular night, we ended up calling the hotline number. And I said, hey, if you don't mind, let Mama Kim just kind of step in. And he talked about how shameful he was. And I said, hey, why don't I break the ice? Introduce myself. And just kind of, because we were calling his grandfather in South Bend, Indiana. I ended up holding his hand. He called the number. I talked to his grandfather for just a moment. By the end of the conversation, the end of that evening, we ended up taking him to a bus station. I stood in line with him to still have a conversation. And he ended up getting on a bus to go see his grandfather. His grandfather had been looking for him for over 6 months and was not able to find him. But he wouldn't because he was ashamed. But because of what we do on that Thursday night, we were talking about football, we were talking about different things. He was saying other people had come by his pathway before and had sown seeds. So you're like, hey, those people are all right. They're not crazy, they're okay. We had a conversation. So that night, he was able to be what we call rescued out of the situation, circumstance that he was in. That where he was before, he was unable to get out on his own because of shame and resources. So that's what we get to do. Every single day we get to do that, whether it be someone on the sex trafficking side, whether it may be someone that's on the homeless side, or maybe it may be someone that's in the community that doesn't have resources, a family. We've met families that were in their cars and couldn't afford housing. I remember a lady, she had eight kids and she could not afford housing, so they were living in her car. So we ended up seeing them. So we were able to provide resources. I met women who were during one of our outreaches where they were being trafficked and they were afraid, but then they encountered one of us and And we gave them a little hope for the day, and we gave them some encouragement and let them know that we were a safe space, and they were able to go into our safe home. So during your survey, we'll get an opportunity to come together. We'll pack bags that has toiletry items in it and snack items in it. And it'll have this card that I told you guys about. It's gonna have this homelessness outreach card on the inside of it for people to call. But then we're also getting ready to go out. Is anybody here that was with us last year? Yes. And we'll be able to go out. I'll teach you guys how to interact with individuals, because I believe that people have a heart to serve, but sometimes we just don't know how to do it. Or we're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Has anybody had a conversation with anybody today? Yeah, yeah, okay. So if someone says, hey, how you doing? And I saw everybody, I saw it. You guys smiled. So that was a prerequisite. You passed, you did good, yeah, good. And just have a conversation. Because when let's see, if you don't mind, ma'am, would you mind coming here just real quick? She had the t-shirt on, and I see that it says realtor on it, okay? Can everybody see that realtor on the shirt? Okay, so when we're interacting with individuals, you can find your person tonight, it's someone from you tonight. Okay, when I'm saying there's a difference between saying there's someone that's there, we're going to feed homeless people. There, we're going to feed people that are experiencing homelessness. There's a difference between the two. The difference is this. Realtor, that's a label that's on her t-shirt. So when I say there's a homeless individual that's right there, that's a label that I'm putting on someone. So when I'm interacting with this person, I'm looking at this label. I'm just looking at the label. I'm not able to interact with the person. I'm thinking of the situation, the circumstance. But when we go out, Tanaya. See, I see Tanaya. Tanaya is experiencing homelessness, but I came to love on Tanaya. My expectation is to only just to spread a little sunshine, because I got no sunshine to share with everybody. So when I talk to Tanaya, hey Tanaya, how you doing? It's so wonderful to meet you. I'm Kimberly. Thank you. So I'm interacting with a person. So when we get ready to go out on our survey, we're interacting with individuals. We get to love on individuals. We get to have conversations about individuals. We get to share a little bit of our sunshine with somebody else, because that's the expectation. I've got enough joy to share. I've got enough words of encouragement to share. So you guys get to be a part of that. And it was so wonderful. We had a great time. We had a great time last year. We had a really great time, because sometimes we just need to slow down just a moment. And to see what other people are experiencing in this earth, and to be able to just share, just take a moment and share. And just take a moment and say, hey, I'm not coming to give you a bag because you need it. I'm coming because I see you and just so happen to have a bag if you like. So I invite you guys to come out and hang out with us. We do outreaches. Hey, Greg.
Can you just tell us like where to be and like a little bit of the process if somebody wants to do this? Is fabulous, by the way.
Yeah, so we did this last year. So what we'll do is we'll meet at I call it HQ Frontline Response. It's indicator. And so what we'll do is we'll meet there. What was it? About 9:30. 9:30. All right. So 9:30. What you'll do is we'll prepare the bags, pack the bags, and then we'll go out and serve the community. And so that's kind of what we did last year.
How long do you think you'll be out?
We'll be back at, yeah,
Okay.
12:30.
Okay, so Mickey will give, excuse me, the information on where to meet, the caterer, and the address and everything. I think
There's a
it-
sign-up sheet, yeah.
There's
There's been a
sign-up
sign-up sheet if y'all were able to get that. Did anybody not get the sign-up sheet? That wanted
Definitely going around.
I don't think that's
Very
different,
good.
that's
Very
different. It came through, it's come through on emails, it's on the Sunday newsletter, it's everything about Red Day. So we're talking specifically about Red Day on Thursday, and if you want to sign up for this activity, you need to go through the sign up so we know who to expect and we have enough. Everything ready.
We will send another email.
It's not on a sheet, it came through on
It's an
email,
email.
and it's also on the newsletter that goes out, there's a link to sign up.
It's like Sign Up Genius or something like
So can
that.
we send another email?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make sure that
We'll get
everybody.
some folks in there.
And we've had some people already signed up.
Yeah, people would like to sign it already.
How many, what, you have okay, great, great. Thank you, Kimberly, that is fantastic, I can't wait to see how we go. Thanks, Greg.
So it is Thursday, it's here before we know it. What we have is, we're gonna meet here at the office at 9:30 to deliver to the landing, which is the retirement community. We're gonna take them, cookies and candy, little bags of candy, because that's what they like. We're having an assembly here tomorrow, an assembly line. We already have people signed up for it. We're gonna meet here at 10. People have donated candy, have donated cookies, and we're gonna do a little assembly line and do 50 bags for the residents of the nursing home. So that's tomorrow at 10. If you didn't sign up and you wanna come help anyway. If you're donating candy or cookies, we need to have them here today into the office. So that was also on Sign Up Genius. Those who signed up, we need it here today. Frontline, be there at 9:30. I have the address. They'll go out again today. With all of this, will go out again today. The Neighborhood Cooperative Ministries, we can drop off there anytime between 9 and 4. So anyone that wants to volunteer to do that. And then at Families First, we were able to donate. We raised $1,000. We donated that. They were very appreciative. We'll have pictures of that coming out. And we can drop off to them anytime between 11 and 12 tomorrow. And I am going to be here today, just sort of getting everything, or tomorrow with the assembly, and I'll have some people here to help, getting everything separated so that we'll know which car it's going in and who's gonna be taking it. So if you're interested in making any of those deliveries,
And that's tomorrow.
the assembly is all gonna be tomorrow.
Okay.
But if you're interested in making any of the deliveries on Thursday, on actual red day, let me know, get with me today if you can. And then the only other thing is the happy hour will be sponsored by Shelter, McMichael and Gray, and Apelia Sorahan at La Paria from 2 until 4.
And Mateo is off that day.
And what?
And Mateo is off that day.
Yes, he is. He will be in.
So that's Thursday.
So that,
Since Thursday, y'all please give and serve, it'll come back double what you give and get out there and help your community. Okay, next is Alliance Partners. Ashley, roll tide, come on up.
Roll Tide.
I like the theme for the day.
Oh, Kelly, sorry. Just said that. I like the theme too.
How's everyone doing
Got
this
for
morning?
us today.
Got a couple of quick tips for you guys. So we did coffee talk, and by the way, Ashley Connor with Kelly and Sorry, I think most of you know me. We did coffee talk yesterday, and I got a question that I think would be good to kind of discuss with everyone. Now that we're seeing multiple offers coming through, what does that look like from a buyer side? And can they put multiple offers? What does that look like from a seller side? Can they do multiple counter offers? So from a buyer side, if you've got a buyer that wants to go under contract in multiple houses, is that possible?
Yes.
Yes, yes, if they have the earnest money enough to put down multiple earnest monies and you've got due diligence, unless they genuinely want to buy multiple houses, right? Maybe not the best idea ethics wise, but certainly feasible. You can do that. There are ways, for your buyer to do that and not have harm come to them, right? From a seller side, we do multiple counter offers.
Yes.
No, we cannot. We cannot. Exactly, just the one. And the reason for that is if your seller turns out 2 counter offers, let's say there's 2 offers that came in, they can't decide which one, they send counter offers to both. If both of those buyers sign them, your seller is legally obligated to sell the same house twice. In no world is that possible, right?
Yeah.
So be really careful that you understand different sides of the transactions have different rules as far as, putting out multiple offers or multiple counter offers. Be really careful, because if your seller goes under contract twice, you just about guarantee they're getting sued from one of them, right? Because again, you can only sell the house once. So when we're seeing all these multiple offers come in, please be careful on that. I think the best thing to do if you can't decide between a couple offers, just pick up the phone, call the other agent, see which one is gonna end up being better for your client, and then send the counter offer to that person.
Okay, if it doesn't work out, you can turn around and send a counter offer to the next person, but as long as that counter offer is either expired or, they've said withdrawn it, there's enough time to do that before it's signed, so. Again, be careful on that. The second tip I wanted to caution you all about is title insurance. I know you guys have heard me talk about title insurance a million times, super important. But there are some lenders out there that'll encourage their buyers to not either get the enhanced title insurance policy or not buy title insurance at all. And I wanted y'all to know that in your actual purchase and sale, paragraph B1C says title insurance. Buyer hereby directs any mortgage lender involved in this transaction to quote the cost of title insurance based upon the presumption that buyer will be obtaining an enhanced title insurance policy, since such a policy affords buyer greater coverage. So don't let the lenders talk your clients into not buying title insurance. If you see a quote that looks low, it could be that they quoted the basic policy instead of the enhanced. All lenders should really be quoting the enhanced. That being said, if your buyer chooses to get a basic policy or chooses to waive it, then that is totally fine, and we can absolutely accommodate that. I say fine, meaning they're allowed to. It's not fine, don't let your people do it, but we can. Be cognizant of the fact that some lenders and loan officers are out there trying to make the cost look low by doing something that's gonna end up really hurting your client. Because if they need that coverage later on down the road and they don't have it, who do you think the first phone call is gonna be to?
Us.
It's gonna be to you guys. It's not gonna be that lender that told him not to. It's not gonna be the attorney that got him to sign the waivers and did CYA all day. It's gonna be to you guys. So make sure that you're encouraging your clients to get that title insurance. Okay. Questions for me on this? All right, good stuff. Well, then my last order of business is our upcoming events. So tomorrow night, for those of us in book club or anyone wanting to join book club, we're meeting at 5 p.m. at Firebirds. Our book was fantastic. So if anyone wants to join, let me know. It's a lot of fun. And then on Thursday, as Allison mentioned, we're sponsoring the Red Day Happy Hour with all the other sponsors. So All Atlanta Shelter and McMichael and Gray. We're thrilled to, take part in service with you guys and then celebrate all your hard work after. And then next Wednesday, we're a sponsor for Flipping Mojitos. It's a super fun event. It's once a month. It's at Mojitos in the Forum. It's just a networking event. So a lot of professionals that are related to real estate. So it's, us, there's lenders there, there's inspection companies, there's photographers, there's literally everything that you can need. There are people there. So it's a great time to come meet folks. And it's a lot of fun. It's not like a stuffy networking event here. Everyone's drinking mojitos basically. So it's great fun. There, and as always, we're here for you. Feel free to walk across the hall and see me. We appreciate you guys so much. And don't forget to put O'Kelly and Sorahan on page 1 of your contracts.
Wait. I want to give you a shout out. I don't know how often you guys come into the office, but it seems like every week y'all are doing something so precious over there. St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, and just thank you for that extra little nugget that you're giving us and pouring into the office, and we really appreciate it.
It's a lot of fun. Happy people are productive people. So anything that we can do to help with that, we're here for
If
that.
that door is open, I encourage y'all to go in there because they got good stuff here.
Thank you for that. Awesome.
Here's the next contestant.
Morning. Can I share something about shelter really quick?
Yes.
As long as it's gonna do it, at the beginning, and then let me wait until they get on stage. So I get a call. So this is about shelter, but it happened at North Fulton. Okay, but I think it's very, very important that I share this. So I get a call from a top Asian from the North Fulton office, and she had no idea that I had moved to Chattanooga, right? But her call was like, how's everything, what's going on? I have an issue and I need your help. And I said, okay, well, how can I help, right? It's so-and-so in PC coaching, because I co-coach the Alpharetta office, right? And I said, I have no idea, because it could be somebody that just signed up and I'm just not aware of it, right? But, tell me and I'll see what I can do. And she says, well, we, took this offer, they were the winning bid and, try to keep it in the house and everything like that. They're using this company, God knows what it is. And the property came in at a very, very low appraisal.
We're seeing more and more of that.
Not 10, not 15, $100,000 under value. And I know this agent extremely well, and I know she knows Windward very well. And I said, okay, let me see what I can do. So I reached out to the agent. He's out in PC, by the way, right? But he knew of me, he heard my name, and he says, well, we're having this problem. And I said, well, tell you what, why don't you reach out to the person, Stanley, in shelter over in Alfred? I said, I know they can help, right? He says, well, thanks. So I put him all, in touch and everything like that. And then I get a call back from Stanley, and Stanley says to me, I tried, but they're gonna go with this other company. And then we'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens. So they went with a second lender, and the appraisal didn't happen. If finally gets back in front of Stanley and it appraised by contract price.
Shelter,
Yeah.
mortgage,
So,
yeah.
Love it. Love it. Hey,
You guys, local appraisers, right?
yes, yeah.
Want to touch on that, because I know you got.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we have, Shelter's had a panel of appraisers for close to 25 years. It's 13 different appraisers that are local to different areas. So Peachtree Corners, Johns Creek, getting it out, Loretta, Roswell, and down into to Atlanta. So they're local, they're living in these areas. They're extremely competent, they're fast, and there's been a lot of situations where the lenders couldn't get to that purchase price when our appraisers weren't able to, so.
So I have just a quick question. So if somebody is pre-approved, we have a buyer, they're pre-approved with someone else, we're working with it, et cetera. And then we bring up introducing you to them just to get a second, whatever.
Yeah.
Comparable. Generally, do you find out that you're able to get there with, based upon them working with somebody else? Like, are you competitive in most of the time, or?
Do you mean from an appraisal or?
No, just.
Oh, just,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we've had, it's interesting. There's a lot of different lenders out there and everyone's pricing changes. So there's different times where one lender may be $500 cheaper or 84% lower in rates, but standard, I mean, you can speak to this too. Normally when we go up and compete against another lender, we're able to at least match or beat what they're able to offer.
Because I think if you're like, if I have a buyer and they're off with someone else and you're able to accommodate them, I'm gonna try like hell to shoot them over to you, because I know from experience, the appraisal thing always usually works out.
Yeah, and Joe, hang on one second, and we're seeing now a trend that houses are not appraising. The sellers want you to list high. They're used to the last 2 or 3 years where they're like, no, and they're pushing. And then houses are not appraising because it's trending downward. So you do need somebody who has an appraiser who understands the business, and it's gonna start trending down, but you'd rather be 5,000 off than 50,000, to get closer. Joe had his hand up first. Hang on, Matt. Joe, go ahead.
So I want to understand how in the matter of maybe a short 7 days of financing contingency, you were able to get 2 or 3 bids, to get an appraiser back out and make that all happen. That's my question.
His
Well, I
name is
did-
Enrique, that's why.
Shelter can do it in
Shelter-
7
shelter-
days.
All right, but if this person had a 7-day contingency and they came in at $100,000 low, did they just extend the contingency period to give them
They
7 more
they
days?
extended the closing period. I don't know if they extended the contingency, right?
They
They
may
could have.
not have, which is
And,
why
and
they
they
have
would, and this is what the agent said, and I'm talking about the listing agent, right? She says to me, if Shelter can do it, we don't mind extending the contract. And I don't know if that means the contingencies as well.
They'll do
Do
it.
that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Matt, what you have?
Why do you think appraisals are coming in lower? I was actually just about to talk to that. So I spoke to Scott with DS Murray. And I think a lot of appraisers right now are walking on eggshells. Here's why. So last year, Fannie and Freddie, that we get data when an appraisal comes in, the lender runs through is what it's called, and it will basically give a risk score. And Fannie and Freddie last year ended up turning in for the entire year in Georgia 2 appraisers. By the beginning of April, Fannie and Freddie has turned in 40 Georgia appraisers for inflating value. So, right, of course, that's going through, the appraisal networks, and they understand that. I think a lot of them are very conscious of making sure that they're within realms, or, using the right adjustments, using the right comparables, because of course they don't want to get
Scared of losing their job. basically?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're like us, they want to be their family the next day, but they want the bank to retire them.
Yes.
Not
But-
get their-
I feel like the market's trending, like prices are trending upwards on concept from that.
It is now, but towards the end of the year, and the beginning of the year, I feel like that's when there was just a little bit of decline.
Yeah, all right, guys, you're up.
Yes, all right, so quick question, May 3rd, does anyone remember why May 3rd was an important date? Fed meeting, expectation is that they were gonna raise the interest rates 0.25%. And it was gonna be the last time they were gonna come out and state that it was the last time they were raising it. They did raise it 1/4 and only hinted that this was gonna be intentionally the last rate hike. Rates did immediately start trending in the right direction, but then started pulling up. And we were listening to a podcast, Hunter and I, this morning. The reason the rates have started pulling up is the Bureau of Statistics came out for inflation data April of last year and reduced the inflation number. Here's why this is important. So when investors and bonds are moving, they go year over year. So when the inflation data tomorrow that's released is going to be compared against last April, there's now less of a chance of it improving, which is what was going to, help push rates down. So expectation is now that we may not see the rates drop, within the next 20 days, but in about 30 days, when the next CPI inflation data is released, that's when we'll start seeing the reduction. That's what experts are saying. So national average still at 6.5%. So we haven't gone anything crazy there. I did want to touch on, I feel like everyone's feeling the market heating up right now. Can I get a raise the hands? But for the most part, I think you had several offers. Here's what Shelter is doing, or what we are doing to help win offers. So from an appraisal turnaround, I think you mentioned 7 days, we're needing 3 to 5 business days in Metro Atlanta to turn around an appraiser. Our panel of appraisers has agreed to it. From financing, now that we have Nancy, I think some of you guys met her at the last meeting. She is ultimately pre-underwriting our files from the time in which we get the application. There's times where we're waiving the financing contingency, but worst case, we're needing 3 to 5 business days for an underwrite.
Matt, hang on one second.
Yes.
So in that too, if they can turn an appraisal around in 3 to 5 days, you guys can make an offer without an appraisal contingency in it, as long as you get the 7 days due diligence. So you're able to do, oh, did I really?
We were, last thing, closing timeline, we are very easily closing in a 2-week time period, 14 to 16 days. That's happened. Somebody asked in Coffee Talk, are you doing that if they're not pre-underwritten? Of course, we prefer it because it makes everyone's lives easier, but we've gotten calls from agent, hey, we've got to, to win this offer, we've got to do this in 2 weeks. Can you make it happen? And they weren't pre-underwritten. With a clean file, we can do it. So just know we're here to make y'all's lives easier. You're going to be going up. If it's a good house, gets a lot of offers. We want to, the financing side to make you guys and your clients as attractive as possible.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when we're, preparing the offers with the agents, what we're doing is, like you said, 14-day closes. This weekend I had 2 5-day due diligences. We're writing a stipulation where it ends on a business day. So if it's on the weekend or we go binding on Monday and it's 5-day due diligence, it doesn't end on Saturday. But we were up against, I think we had 5 or 6 offers that we put in this weekend accepted. And we beat out 2 or 3 cash offers with just calling the listing agent on a Saturday or a Sunday. I spoke to all 3 of the listing agents on my offers and they all 3 got accepted because we reached out. We called them, they said that there were better offers that were higher, but they didn't speak to anybody, so they weren't confident that it was gonna close. So hopefully you guys will give us an opportunity to utilize, what we're talking about and give us the opportunity to reach out, because that's good for our business down the line as well.
Communication.
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing to call the listing agent on our behalf. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, so we'd love to get some more ones in May.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Last thing, I think everyone's talked about it, but really excited. Hunter and I are going to go with Frontline down in Decatur and do that. But following that, after we've served, really excited about Opry and hope everyone will join us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. A little tip for you guys that made me think about this, and I'm gonna hit Sam in a second for this, but not only do you have a great lender and you're going into these houses with multiple offers, one of the biggest things you've got to train your buyers on is cameras. Nowadays, 90% of the homes have cameras, right? So I'm gonna give you 2 scenarios that happened to me. One of them, Hannah was taking one of our clients out and the sellers were kind of paranoid. And I said, this house is gonna be full of cameras, I can tell you right now. So we coached our buyer to gush over this house in front of the cameras in their house. I mean, gush. She opened the nursery. She's like, oh, his clothes are gonna be here. They had 17 offers. We were not the highest and we won the bid. Use these cameras to your advantage. On the flip side, I had an older gentleman just the other day. Guys, there's cameras, there's 3 in his workshop because of all the tools, you know, don't say anything weird. And this guy's a magician, so no offense to magicians, but I've said 100 times, there's cameras, I'm so worried what he's gonna say. So he's in the workshop, there's a big toolbox there, and he opens the lid, he goes, oh, this is where the dead bodies are. So I'm like, all right, let's go to the next house, because you're out. I mean. Please educate your buyers on these cameras, or you're gonna lose deals if they're saying weird stuff in somebody's house. And it's your job to look for them and go, camera to the right, camera in the. So just remember that when you're out showing, and educate your seller too. The cameras are legal. It makes people feel weird. If you want to take them down, we would love that. But mostly educate your buyers on these cameras. Okay, is Kelly here? Kelly McKinda? No Kelly. Okay, Ruthie. Oh, wait, oh, what? Next to Kelly. I can't read this.
Oak Insurance, I don't have much today, but I do want to do a little shout out to Juliana and Brian and Richie for doing policies with us. I think
Nice.
we saved a pretty decent amount of money, so if y'all need any quotes, give me a call.
Congratulations with the rating.
Okay.
Our fearless leaders, tiny little fearless leader is coming up here a little bit. How are you today?
I'm good, how are y'all? I'm good.
This is our fearless leader.
So I was gonna tell Ashley something funny, that's speaking of what we're talking about today, I got an email from one of our agents Sunday night. And we just passed on this house and there were stipulations in the consent about this particular house that had the seller was putting out, it was some company that owns properties all over out there. But what was funny in that, she said, should we pass on the house? So I mean, it's like little tight, months type, for 3 pages to read all the stipulations of it, or all the conditions of it, so. But I thought it was funny, the funniest one I saw was that we are a big company, so we may have already accepted an offer on this house. So if you make your offer and we accept yours, then we have, when we find out we've already accepted one, here's what we bought. I guess if you put enough disclaimers on things. Yeah. Some things that are interesting. And speaking of what you were talking about, this one comes up what I'm talking about today, so.
I'm just stealing everybody's thunder today.
I guess so. So, we're gonna talk about some things that could get you in hot water. I'm sure that you never would do that, but. Okay, so if somebody asks you a question, another buyer or another agent client asks you a question about a house, and let's just say you know something about the house that it's not on the disclosure, there's no disclosure, or that the seller sort of missed that, but they ask you, has this house ever flooded? And you know it has. You have to say yes. Because if you don't, you'll be sued, right? Right. So there are many things they could ask you besides flood. They could ask you, have they ever had rats? You know, almost anything. If you know about this, you have to disclose if it's a direct question, because you could be sued for libel if you don't tell the truth. So I want you to be careful about that. Can you all see what this says? A direct question about what you have knowledge, you must disclose. Okay, the next slide. I learned this from Enrique. Okay.
Hey Ruth, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is that only related to the house? Like if someone says, has someone died in this house?
About to say that.
You have to say yes.
If you know.
Right.
Fine, I know. But you don't have to say unless they ask, right?
Right, no.
Right. Where are you doing?
I'm going to get a rag in my nose.
Okay.
It's not without my nose.
This is one of the big problems we have. I mean, just yesterday, I was talking to one of our agents, because the people really wanted to buy this house. But the problem was that earnest money, well, it was supposed, I called our agent, well, it was supposed to be there yesterday, but it wasn't there yesterday. So I just told them, well, we'll get it there. Well, let me tell you something, there are timelines on these things. So in the contract, it tells you, where this piece of paper, I'm gonna read exactly what it says in the contract about this. Because if earnest money's not there, then there's 5 days, it's gotta be there. So just be sure that if you're supposed to be getting earnest money there, and it's not there, you need to tell the other people that it's not there. Because they don't know if it's coming to our office or if it's going to an attorney and it's not there, they have no way of knowing if you don't tell them. So you need to notify them, we got our earnest money, it's here. Okay, so that's very, very important because
Can a text message, a picture of the earnest money check be considered notice?
I would think that, so just be sure they know, just don't ignore it and then find out a couple of days later, this particular occasion. It was our agent that was said to me, well, it didn't get there, but you know, it'll be there in a couple of days. So, well, wait a minute, you know, your contract says it's supposed to be there in 3 days. So, I know you all wouldn't do that, but it was one of our agents.
So I ask a question, I had somebody send me a picture of the check, but they didn't show me that it was ever deposited by the receiver, so you.
That won't work.
Yeah,
The fact is, you know, it used to be, y'all not going so young. It didn't take, when I first started working, when we sent an offer, we made a copy of the check and put it on top of the offer. Yeah, that's a while they got there. Well, it could be, well, anyway, one time I lost a check after I sent a copy of the check. Well, what was the check? I looked on some embarrassed for myself and buyers, and I'm just so sorry I have to tell you I lost the check. No problem, you get it. Well, then months later, somebody came in and said, Ruth, we found when we were servicing the copy machine, we found a check. And it was that check. So it wasn't my fault, it was the copy machine.
So you can send a text that you pick it up or that you got it, but it is your responsibility to get it turned in.
yeah, somebody,
I
the
think-
buyer was trying to tell me, this shows proof that we take the earnest money. I said, no, it just shows you wrote a check, it doesn't show it's ever
Right.
deposited, so I gotta get it from.
It's good to
the
follow
lawyer or something.
Yeah.
So, but if the check, if the seller, nobody checks it, so it's not about this check. And there's a time limit on how much time the seller can complain. So if he doesn't say anything, it's 7 days past, it's go, there's no need to pursue it. The contract said, if the seller fails to, disclose, complain, that's what it says. Buyer shall have 3 banking days from the date of receiving notice to cure the default. If the buyer does not do so, seller may within 7 days have terminate this agreement on notice the buyer, right? If seller fails to terminate the agreement timely, seller's right to terminate based on the default of not receiving the earnest money shall be waived in the contract. So, of course, you're taking care of their client. So, and then it was well, this kind of comes goes along with what she's saying. She gets her buyers going and one of the things about it. That's really not good. I said, no, not that. Well, you said, they said, well, she said, I didn't. Okay. They don't have any kids, and putting them in. Got it. So that means you don't want to get involved with that because that means discrimination. Somebody could say, well, they got that offer because I didn't have kids and they did. Right? So be careful about that. I wouldn't want that to happen to you. But I think love letters are sort of coming back a little bit. But I see a lot of them now. I mean, it was pretty evident that they were, and pictures of people in love letters. Bad idea. Discrimination right there, right? So I would think avoid love letters. And then, let me see, I had one other thing. What was the other thing? Well, I did it all. I'm so good I got finished.
Do this for 12 years and I still call her with questions. Such a great resource. Thank you. Sam and Lucy, come on up. My favorite subject, technology.
This is Luke show there. I'm just sitting here making it look good.
Oh, excellent. Let me get out of the way. Thanks, Sam.
That's my little tip.
Okay. I just look like Jeff, because I know we are running out of time. Okay. So in command, you have this little. Okay, so we have this little button right here that says connect. All right, I'm gonna take you there real quick. There is a bunch of stuff that you can learn. If you've been here for a while, you've gone to my KW before. Well, they have organized it very strategically. So we're gonna click here, browse all. And there's a ton of stuff that's organized by book clubs, fires, command, all the KWU classes that you have to pay for, you can see on here. I want to specifically go to this section, which is market of the moment, which I think is a really great idea. There are two cool things here, the one-page systems, which is just what it sounds like, where you can do like 25 unique sphere of influence touches. Something like that would be great. So if you don't have a lot of bandwidth for reading 5 pages, this is the place to go. But there's all kinds of really, really cool stuff here. Take some time to go through it. If you click on it, you can download it. That's this little button here. And you can see it, you know, just a little bigger and organize it however you want to. There are also I went all the way back to the top here, one second. Playbooks. Sam, if you want to explain the playbooks while I'm there real quick.
Yeah, so Playbooks is this really cool initiative that kind of this like pre-family reunion. Jason Abrams, who's our vice president of the industry, Mark King, the president of Kettle Williams, they got together with top agents and said like, hey, who's really crushing open houses? Who's crushing in social media? And just like they use this practice when they interview to create the MREA, they created these like smaller playbooks to say like, okay, here's a step-by-step guide for an online leads playbook or a lead playbook. And like, this is like dummy proof. This is not like, here's the instructions for like building IKEA furniture where like you need that basically means struggle with that. Like, this is just like step 1, do this, step 2, that, and it makes it crystal clear on the best practices with each of these.
Yes, it's a little more in depth, so this is gonna be a bigger book for you to look at. However, highly recommend you go through here and see what others can really provide.
And my favorite part of this whole like, you connect refresh too, is that you can bookmark. So if you don't want to download, you can bookmark it, you can go back to it later. There's some really cool stuff with like My Learning at the top where like it'll show you like things you've already viewed at. That was one of my biggest complaints with the old KW was that I would find something I really liked and then not download it, or I'd lose my downloads and lose it forever. It seemed like when I go back to search it, I can never find it again. So there's a really cool history that you can find in there, which is sweet.
Okay, that is all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have today? You have today? Just.
No class today. We'll go over classes today. It's been right at me. Okay, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Glad you're here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. So, question. Any takes from what Shelter was talking about earlier? Appraisals, prices maybe slowing down, in about a year later on, right?
Yeah.
What is your take? If anybody says to you, what's going on in the market? What do you say? How is the market, by the way?
It's like it's never been before.
I like that. But if they actually want information, if they want to know what's really going on, what do you say?
Why do you ask?
Huh?
Why do you ask?
Well, that, and you can refer, because all of you were in Char Masters, right? Now, can you mention things from Char Masters? Yeah, you can, but are they still relevant though? No, because that was first quarter, right? So we gotta keep an eye on the stats. Well, that's what you got me, because I like, that's what I like. So, but anyways, let me show you what's happened in April. And I'm so glad the MMO was out because that made my life easier. Because otherwise I'm doing all the math. So let's see, active listing count. And this is of course nationwide, right? Look where we are, we're the yellow at the bottom, right? That's 2020. 22. That's 2022. Wait a second, that is wrong, it's wrong. Okay. My bad. I don't know why that is in there, because that is not the correct slide. But let me tell you what's going on with FMLS, because that's the data that matters at the end of the day, right? So FMLS currently, active count is 26% higher than the year before. Right? So guess what's going on? Last year, we had about 4,000 and change active listings on the month of April, right? This year, we're 26.9 over. Right? Well, let me see what you got. Now we're in the right, I don't know what happens with my bad on the first slide. So this is your total listing count, and that's 2023. Right there. The national average is 6.3% higher year over year, same month, right? This April, last April. Where are we on FMLS? This is the entire FMLS area. We're 18.9% higher. Now, what does that tell you? Because this is,
Cool, who's jumping in?
I don't know.
I don't know how to make that go, what's cute?
Lucy, we're being. So what do
It's not on mine, there's somebody's trying to jump into the TV itself, it's not on my computer.
okay, begin that.
Like not here.
Okay. So back over here, so where are we if we compare, and totally see that you gotta remember this, that's everything that's on the market, right? Whether it's active under contract, or even pending, until it says it is part of what's available in the market. Well, if you look at homes for sale, that's the way that FMLS calls it, we're up at 18.9%. Now, the interesting thing is that you're gonna see that our new homes to market is actually last year to year, you know, from this year to last year. But the interesting thing is that the backlog is what's making that number much higher. Meaning there are some properties that are staying on the market longer than they should due to overpricing, and you see that in a second. The next slide, if you don't mind. This is the newly listed homes. Look at where we are. I don't know why this, I'm so sorry, guys. This is, I don't know why it's messing, the top of everything was 2023, when I looked at it yesterday. But let me jump over to the FMLS area part, and that is minus 25% year over year of new listings hitting the market. So what's going on with that? Why is that happening? And that's an interesting thing that is occurring. Why? Because you have this, it's sort of a crazy feeding frenzy cycle, right? That sellers are saying, the price is the perception is prices are coming down, I'm not selling, I'm not putting my house in the market. But again, that's just perception. So what does that do? They keep the inventory low. And therefore, we still have the pricing that, you know, you're gonna see in a second, continues to get a little higher month by month, right? So let me show you. Next slide. This is pending listing count, and again, I don't know why it's 22. I might bad on that. Look at the pending sales. We're now 22.7% compared to last year. So less properties are going under contract than the year before, pending, right? Now, let me see the next slide. Let's see if that one can still the same thing. But the data from MLS is accurate because it is. Anyway, so it's 0.16% higher than last year. The total of 13 days on the average on the market. I don't know if you noticed that. So how has the market changed from last March?
It was a frenzy last March.
Well, no, but the days on the market were higher. The days on the market have lessened, at least for the FMLS area. That's- they're down to 13. It's on 13 days on March, and that's on the average. That's FMLS data, I mean, it's on your MMO, okay? Next slide, if you don't mind. And again, this is still 2022, this sucks. Okay, I don't know what happened, I don't know what happened, but anyways, the entire MLS area median original list price is 449,000. That, to answer Matt's question, is 4.4% higher than last year. So our price is really coming down. Values, no, not yet, right? Prices are actually coming down a bit, but it's that overpricing that some agents are doing that's creating that backlog, right? Next slide, if you don't mind.
Oh, that's it.
That's it, okay. Well, I promised to fix it, and can I send that to you so we can distribute it to the whole class? I'm sorry, my bad on that. But the good news is this, we're still in a good market. It is still a seller's market. Have that conversation with your sellers because they're the ones that are causing some of the issues that we're having, right? We don't have enough inventory. And if they realize that they can actually get what it is that they want, as far as their net seller, then we can actually make a bit of a change and some headway and have some properties for these buyers of ours that are starting to have those multiple offer situations again. And have you noticed that people are backing away from those? Multiple offers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you still have them, but you're not gonna have 15 of them, right? If you could potentially have 6 or 7, 2 or 3 are backing away from it because they're saying, I don't want to be in a multiple offer situation. I want to pay a little too much, right? But if the property's priced right, you still may get multiple offers. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you, and I will see you.
One of the things too is sellers are basing it on comps and want to be the next highest comp. And so it's pushing a little bit, but they're just sitting longer. So do educate your sellers on the market. Last thing, we have classes and events. All righty. Thank you.
Yeah. So tonight, as we have on every Tuesday night, if you know anybody that's wanting to get their real estate license and they need to take the course, have them join my Zoom class. The link and everything is in that Sunday newsletter. It's a Zoom class. It takes maybe 10 or 15 minutes just to get information and to get people enrolled in school at no cost to them for the tuition. Wednesday, tomorrow is Ignite. That is still going on. If you need to take Ignite and you missed the first week, it's okay. Jump on in. You can make up those classes later on. Our very own Carrie is doing this now. She's doing a great job. So that is tomorrow at 10. Also tomorrow is mock closings with Michael and Greg from 12:30 to 1:30. After that, 1:30 is bilingual sessions on contracts. And then at 2 o'clock, David's going to be having his mastermind. That'll be in person and on Zoom, but it'll be in person in the conference room. Thursday is Red Day. We will send out another email to give you information for where to go. And please, please, please sign up through those links in the email so we know who to expect where. At some point, I think they said there was room for 24 people if we go downtown. So if you don't sign up and you show up, we might not have room for you. So please sign up for Red Day. After those activities, or if you're not doing one of those activities, we are still taking donations, right?
We are still taking donations, but they need to be like ASAP.
Okay, perfect,
Because I'm organizing everything tomorrow.
perfect, excellent.
David's thing on the Chat North, did that time change?
The time
The
change.
time change,
Yeah,
okay,
I
good.
changed it yesterday.
Okay, great.
Yes.
In fact, if anyone still wants to donate something rather than doing one of the links, I would say, give me a check, give me money, Venmo, Zelle, and let me go shop so that we have it here.
Perfect.
That'd be better.
Excellent, excellent. I'll stick that in, or that they drop it here
They
today.
could drop it here, but please don't do Amazon because, you know, it's not gonna get it.
Okay, perfect. After Red Day, we do have happy hour from 2 to 4. That is on Thursday. On Friday, FMLS is coming here. If you've ever had a class with Sally, she is fantastic. She works with FMLS. She is one of their top trainers and she will be at Chat North. This is FMLS basics, and I know at least one of you, I know one person in particular, has taken this class multiple times. You learn something new every time. It's about doing searches, setting people up. It's about all the functions within FMLS matrix. So that is a great class. Please come here for that. For Sally, that is the CE class. Also on Friday is Ignite. Here are the links for Red Day happy hour at FMLS. I'm just gonna go through some of these. Coming up to plan ahead, May 24th, Shelter is having a 3 CE class. And then also there is on the 25th, how to host and plan a successful client event. That's going to be a great class as well. Quantum Leap, this is for anybody, whether it's one of you guys, one of your kids, somebody that you happen to know, a young adult. It's teaching them just different skills that you don't learn in your typical education. And that's it for me.
All right, cool. Art, are you here?
I am here. Good morning, beautiful people of Chat North, and happy Gratitude Tuesday. It's another wonderful day to be alive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Living in a state of gratitude is a gateway to grace. The real gift of gratitude is that the more grateful you are, the more present you become. When we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. And just want to share one little shout out to Cravens and also Bob Duran. I was there with them last year on Frontline and it was phenomenal. I mean, Cravens was taking people by the hand and saying, "Can I pray for you?" You know, and just pull them to the side, just went right into it. He just went right deep. So we never really know how much of an impact that we can make on people's lives, but I actually saw people with tears. So I would encourage anyone who's thinking about going, go for it. Go for it. It'll be a blessing. Let's continue to think big, aim high, act bold, peace and love, Chat North.
Great job.
Great
job.